Hey there, to whoever finds this. Judging by from the title below, yeah. This is a rather serious topic that I've been sort of hesitant to talk about, but not necessarily, but I felt like I needed to get this out. Because this is probably the moment that I was the most frightened by. And I don't know what can top this, really. And I hope to never experience something like this ever again. And I'm okay right now. I'm not gonna really edit this video. I'm not gonna do anything crazy with it. I'm not gonna put my intro that I put in my other videos. I'm gonna keep it like it is, just a fully uncut video. And no, this is not clickbait. This really did happen to me, so I just wanted to point that out. So basically, this all started back in November when I went to do my physical, because I haven't done one for about a few years ago, and I was 18 at the time. Well, I'm 24. Well, I'm 25 right now. Birthday was a couple days ago, so who knows to me. But anyways, back to the main topic. So I go in for my physical. The nurses, they're sort of asking me all these questions of like, hey, are you okay? Do you feel comfortable with this? And I was sort of replying normally, like, yes, maybe, but I didn't really understand, what the answer they wanted me to say. Like, what did they want me to say? No, or maybe. I didn't know at the time. So they filled me with they had 3 test tubes, to drain my blood. They successfully got 2 of them, but 1 tube, by the time they got to the 3rd tube, the blood stopped draining, which is kind of weird. And they sort of had to push the needle lower into my artery just to get more of them, and they realized it wasn't working. And then at that moment, there was something weird just happened to me. At that moment, I felt sort of nauseated. Like, a part of me, like the inner side of me was panicking, but on the outside of the outside of me, I was calm and collected. I was just very calm. Let's just put it at that. And I'm sort of like getting a little nauseated, and I'm like kind of freaking out, like in the inside. Like I even questioned, like I was even concerned about this as well. I was like, what am I even feeling right now? This is like, I knew something wasn't right with me, and I didn't bother to tell the nurses because I didn't know what this feeling was. I thought this was just a normal feeling. And of course, I felt like I had to vomit, but of course I didn't tell them that as well, because I've also had other times where my esophagus was like warning me that I was going to throw up, and multiple times I've seen it where it passes. That feeling just goes away for about 5 minutes and never comes back. So I thought, okay, maybe this is just a normal reaction. I probably will stop having this maybe in minutes later. And all I remember is that the nurses were about to test me again. They were about to do another test with another arm, since they already tested my other arm for blood drainage. So there's that. And then the next thing I remember is that I sort of saw myself in a field filled with grass in a fence, and I'm just sitting there thinking, how the hell did I get here? I guess we're done with the appointment, huh? And then the next thing is, I wake up, I regain conscious, and I see people's feet right there. And I'm just thinking, I'm confused. I was concerned and confused at the same time. I'm just like, what? Like, I was just too weak to talk. I was just too weak to move. And apparently, it seems like, according to my mom, that I fainted, that I completely blacked out from this. And I didn't even know. That was the scary part. I didn't even know that I was basically dreaming. I didn't even know. That basically caught me off guard. And The nurses, they were cool, super cool. They had to get me to hydrate again, since I was all pale. Like I was losing blood from the brain, and that's what caused me to like go into sleep mode, basically. And I'm just sitting there like freaking out, like, really? I really fainted like that? To be honest, that has never happened to me ever in my life. So apparently I have that. It's just crazy to think about that. And that's not even the end of the story. This is just the beginning. So, after that, the doctor for that day, sort of went over the results and advised me to go see a cardiologist somewhere in far northwest. So a week ago, or a week later, we go to the cardiologist, and me and my mom were explaining what happened. This happened, that he fainted. He had a fainting episode. He needs to be tested. We need to know why I was fainting. So then the cardiologist, just guaranteed that I was going to be okay. And he also advised that I do a follow-up, and that I do a checkup of sorts called an EP study, which for some of you who don't know, it means electroplastic surgery. Not surgery, study. I'll get to it a little bit more later on. So then a couple weeks later, and this was on December 3rd of this month. Yeah. So I go in, I'm sort of nervous about this whole thing. I'm just kind of taken aback, because I've never been to a hospital, like, staying in a bed with a sheet on, what I'm talking about. And I never had to experience that before, and I was just afraid of what might happen. So I go in, and I'm waiting hours and hours later, until finally it was my turn for a procedure. And like I said before, EP study is basically that it's basically a heart monitoring testing procedure. So basically what they do is they sedate me first through a mask, and then when I'm successfully asleep, and by the way, that was the first time I've ever been sedated in my life, and I didn't know what to expect. That was the one thing I was afraid of going in. Just the thought of a drug overtaking my body and putting me to sleep. That's what kind of spooked me a little bit. But anyways, so like I said, they put anesthesia on me, a little dose of it. And what they do is they put a little catheter inside your groin area, and it goes up to your heart, and they monitor it from the screen on the other room. And they check out my pulse, my heart rating, just to see if my heart is beating normally. So after, I don't know how long I was in there for, probably like in 30 minutes or an hour, I go back to my room, in the hospital room, and I'm waiting more and more hours. I had to rest first of all, since they can't let you immediately go since you've been tested. The nurses come back, and I find that the results for the EP study were great. My heart was normal. It was healthy. I was gonna be okay. So we were just very calm, and we were just very it was just good news to hear from me and my mom. So anyways, here's the scary part. Here's the other scary part. Just as soon as I was about to leave, like I already put my clothes on, I was sitting on the bed, I felt like vomiting again. And before, I was sort of, I had to point the trash can to my mom to let her know that I wanted to vomit, because I couldn't really speak. I was kind of, struggling to like fight it to stay down in my esophagus. And I held the trash can to like right here, ready to vomit. And then once again, everything went blank. And it turns out that I had another fainting episode, and I didn't even know it at this time. Like I didn't even knew this was coming at all. So the next thing that I know is that I wake up to see me on my side, and I see dresses like on my right, and I'm confused again. I'm like, what the hell? Did I just faint again? Like, it blew my mind, really. And all I can sort of remember is that I saw a little bit of vomit like near the bed, and I got some of my clothes. Yeah, not great, huh? And I saw that there was vomit on the floor. I'm like, oh wow, I threw it up. And the crazy thing is, I didn't even feel like I threw up at all. I was so unconscious that I didn't even know that my body was basically puking the whole time. So of course that frustrated me, because it meant that I had to stay in for a couple more hours just to make sure that I'm fully healthy. And then after that, I was ready to go home. I had to have some of my clothes, my shirt mainly, and I also brought a jacket too. Yeah, they were both covered with vomit, so they had to put them in a bag, and I had the sheet, the cloth sheet, I forgot what you call them, on me the whole time, the whole drive to home. And before we got to the car, as soon as we're passing down the hall and I'm on the wheelchair, my mom finds the cardiologist again, and she sort of talks to him, like saying, okay, is he going to be okay? Like, do we know why he's having these fainting episodes? Like, we need to know why. And of course, my cardiologist like told her, no, it's okay. He's going to be fine. Everything's going to be wonderful. Your son, don't worry about your son. He's very healthy. He's going to live a long life. Something like that, guaranteed words to help me get through the hard times. So that was kind of it. And this week on around Tuesday, no, not Tuesday, this was on Monday, I believe. I was coming home from work. It was kind of a busy day, with the holidays coming around, and I was resting a little bit on my bed, and I went to go to my computer, and then I had another strange feeling. No, this is not a fainting episode, but I just had a strange feeling. At first it was like a stiff neck, but then a few minutes later there's like a little chest pain around. There's like some pain around my chest area. I'm like, well, that's weird. That's so weird. Like, my first instinct was a chest pain, and I had to look it up just to see how it's treated. And of course, the sad thing is I didn't tell my mom or my dad. I didn't tell any of them. So I figured, maybe this is sort of minor. Maybe. I know some of you are going to be like, well, you should tell them. You should have called the hospital. Well, I wanted to be sure. Sorry. But, I sort of told my mom and dad about the stiff neck. I didn't tell them about my chest yet, because I wasn't too sure. So my dad helps me with the neck by putting Topicrine cream around it, just to like soothe it out and calm it down, just to get the pain out of there. And the weird thing is, it didn't even, like, when I was touching the neck, it didn't even hurt. Like, that side was already gone, but this was still. I don't know how to explain it, but so I figured, okay, well, better not to tell them. So I feel like, and also I also took an Advil pill, so I figured, okay, that'll probably kill the pain. I probably won't feel it again tomorrow. So next day comes, and that pain in the chest comes back, and this happens like around the afternoon, or somewhere in the afternoon, and it got worse. It was basically like, that feeling felt like a knife slowly stabbing and coming deeper into your skin. That's how bad I was. That's how bad my state was in. So I'm over here resting on my bed, hoping that my mom would be back soon. I mean, I figured she would come home. I don't know, I don't remember what the time was, but I think she got here around 4 or 5, and I was sleeping on the bed at, I don't know, like an hour ago. I think that's when it started. I already successfully ate lunch like a couple hours ago, and I was sleeping here. And I know some of you are like, well, why don't you call your mom? I don't know. To be honest, you're in such a panic at that moment. You don't know if it's going to be bad or worse. Like, you don't know. You really don't know stuff like this. Sure, yeah, it could be an excuse, but I wanted to, again, I figured she would be home. I mean, she was away at that moment with her friends and going out. So she comes in and she notices. She's like, "Are you okay? Like, why are you resting on your bed?" And I couldn't even talk because I was just so scared of the whole experience. So I weakly said, "Just be." It was like I was hit it with another sedated pill. Really, that's so of course, she frequently is calling a friend to like help her calm down and like try to guarantee that I'm gonna be okay. So immediately she's like, all right, we're gonna get you to the hospital. So we go to the hospital over here, and the whole time when I was sitting there waiting there on the wheelchair, that was probably the most scared I've ever been in any moment of my life. Just the feeling of like it was just difficult for me to breathe, because I kept my mom kept telling me to, of course, calm down, but I couldn't. It was just so hard to do so. So I'm sitting there just like, and I was on the verge. I was almost on the verge of tears. Like, I wanted to cry so bad from that, but I didn't, because I had to hold it together. And that's why I was kind of impatient, hoping for the doctor to come soon, because I felt like I was gonna die from that moment. Like, I felt like I was dying. So of course the nurse comes in. They take me into an ER room, and I'm still panicking. I'm still sort of like suffering from the pain. So they gave me some most tests. They tested my blood and all that jazz. And they gave me some type of medicine to sort of soothe out the pain. And for like about, I don't know, 10 or like 5 or 10 minutes later, it was gone. And I was just like, oh my God, wow, that feels so much better. I felt like I was healthy again. I was ready to go home. But nope, that's not how the story goes, huh? So, and this is like probably the biggest reveal I've ever heard. And I assumed I had this, but like I had an assumption, and I kind of knew this was a thing. But the doctor comes in, because they already did some test results on me for my blood, and I already did like an MRI. And when the doctor came in, this probably like took me by surprise. This made me the most nervous I've ever been in my whole damn life. But he said that the results were good. However, he said I came here that my mom made the right move to bring me there, because apparently they discovered that I had not one but 2 blood clots in my lungs, both of them. And I'm just sitting there like, holy shit. So I really was dying. Like I was like almost ready to lose it. I was just like, Jesus Christ. I was scared. Who wouldn't be in that moment? And of course the first person that I thought of for any Heath fans out there was Chris Bosch and another YouTuber that goes by Johnny Awesome. Those two were the first people that I thought of when they told me I had blood clots. Especially with Johnny, I was especially concerned since thinking about Johnny Awesome. For those of you who don't know Johnny Awesome, he's a cool YouTuber. He's no longer with us. You can go look up his channel and look up a video where he just says he almost died. Go check it out. But anyways, Johnny Awesome, again, great YouTuber, but unsuccessfully, he passed away in August from the illness that he was suffering. And I kid you not, I thought I was gonna die, or I had a moment where I was not gonna even make it in the hospital. and I was hoping that I would, end up like Bosch, trying to hold it together and try to make it out of this, try to survive this somehow. But they guaranteed me that, and the doctors were super cool. They were great. They told me that I was gonna be okay. That I was gonna stay overnight, take me to a room upstairs, give me some good treatment. So, and then after that, they put me in with a 95-year-old man, who's basically, he kept, or the next day after that, he kept not necessarily pestering, but just sort of like talking to the nurses and all that stuff, saying, "Oh, I have somebody coming to pick me up, or I'm gonna get out of here tomorrow." He's just telling all these, funny stories about him. I didn't talk to him at all. We just sort of made a little eye contact, but that's about it. I didn't really have any discussions because I didn't know the guy. So again, the night before, and let me tell you, it's fine and dandy with the bed, but it's not the hospital at night is not fun. It's not fun sleeping in the hospital at all, because now it's not only like trying to adjust to the bed, but just hearing everyone outside the door, just hearing doctors walking in, walking out, strollers strolling in and out, and just hearing like other patients like suffering from whatever disease or whatever procedure they have or whatever illness they have. Like I heard the guy like coughing off, like it sounded like he was throwing up outside, and I'm just like, dang, this guy probably has it worse than me. But of course, and then again, you have other doctors and nurses coming into my room and trying to test my blood and trying to pump my arm. Yeah, not a fun experience. And I'm just like sitting there, I'm like, can I please sleep for the love of God? Like, I'm tired. Can I just go to sleep? But yeah, no. And then the next morning, it doesn't stop there. I wake up and like around, and first of all, I couldn't even sleep in the hospital at all. Like I barely slept because of all the noises that was happening. It was a difficult night for me. And then the next morning, that pain in my chest came back. And the whole time I was in bed, just sort of like waiting for the nurses to come, because I knew they would come earlier. And again, it's probably one of those times where I should have called for help on the monitor. And I know some of you are like, wow, you have a weird way of getting help, you know that? I guess so. So the nurse is coming by and I tell her that I'm feeling the pain again. Like, can you try to do something about it? And the nurse, she wasn't all that great, but she wasn't all that bad too. She was like, okay, clearly I can see you're in pain. So she gives me the same medicine that I got the other night to sort of soothe the pain out. And it helped. And I was kind of scared that moment was going to happen to me anytime soon if the medicine wears off. So the whole time I'm at the hospital, I'm just patiently waiting and waiting. They did some more tests for me, and they also did a test where they have a monitor on my left, and you can see they put like a creamy device in my body or in my stomach, and you can see the heart, the monitor of the heart. You can see the lungs. You can see the whole body from that monitor. It was a pretty cool experience to look at that. Yeah, and then so of course, obviously, I had to wait more hours until like around 6, and I'm here right now. I'm successfully back at home. I'm feeling a lot better. Sometimes the pain comes back a little, but it's not as bad as when I was going to the hospital sitting on the wheelchair in the first place, where I had trouble trying to breathe. It comes and goes, but only when I'm sort of scrounged like this, like having like my knees right here is kind of when it kind of hurts a little bit, but not too much. And what else? And that's pretty much it. I'm safe and sound at home, and right now I'm on blood thinners. So they did do a test where my blood is thin, that if I scratch myself, that I have to cover it quickly, and if I like hit something, it's gonna bruise badly. So I just have to be cautionary with what I do in my life, especially if I'm going back to work soon. And that's pretty much all. That's pretty much all I have to say. And let me tell you, it's just being like going through that moment at like just a 25-year-old going through that moment, especially someone like young like me, just having a scary moment like that is just insane to think about. But you know what? I'm just very grateful. I have to thank God for trying to get me through this, and I'm not trying to sound blasphemy or anything, but I have a feeling that God made me feel this pain, not to kill me, but I feel like He gave me sort of a sign. You know what I'm saying? Sort of a sign, not for my body, but for life as well. Like, hey, you're about to go into a new world. You just graduated from school. Your birthday, you turned 25. You're about to go find a job out there. You're about to basically go out to the real world. And let this pain remind you that there's going to be some dark times, some moments where you have to fight for what's right. And you know, life can be great and beautiful, guys. But sometimes it can be unpredictable at times too. Moments like these can simply just end your life just like that, and you can never know it's coming. That's why we all just have to look out for what's best for us. We just have to watch what we do. And I'm just grateful to have such a wonderful mother to look out for me. And I have a great supportive family for also trying to, you know, contact me and asking me about how I'm doing during the whole time I was at the hospital. You know, just like checking up on me, making sure that I'm fine, which I'm very grateful to have in my life. And I also gotta applaud the doctors as well, the doctors and nurses, for doing their best. They were all super nice. They were very nice to me, and I have to give them props, especially in a time like this when the pandemic is still going and they have millions and millions of patients coming in and out, and they have to keep busy 24/7. I understand their pain. It's a really rough job to go through, and I applaud them for doing their best, not just to help me, but just to help those other patients that are in need of assistance. It's just, I'm still dumbfounded by what's been happening to me for this past month. And I'm going to say it again, I'm just very grateful. I have to thank God for putting me in the right path. I'm very honored to still be here and to still continue on with my life. Because if I knew I was going to die, I would have been so scared, knowing that no, there's more to me out there. This cannot be the end. There's more to me than meets the eye. I don't know what else to say. Again, just someone like young as me to go through this, and now like I understand. And the funny thing is, I kind of was a little mad at Bosch when he got the clots the second time in his legs, and that forced him to basically retire. And I'm just like, oh man, why would you? I was pretty upset. Now I understand what Bosch went through. Now I understand. I basically was put into his perspective on how this is life-threatening, because it is. Blood clots are not fun to have in your body, especially when you keep hearing all these stories about him and other people and how they don't survive and how it can end their life just like that. It scares you. It motivates you to try to fight for yourself and try to keep on living. Trying to be cautionary with life. Because like I said, don't take it for granted. You cannot take it for granted ever. Again, life is majestic as it is, but there's going to be some sparks where it hits you, and you got to be ready to fight it back. And luckily, you know, it appears that I won against this clot. Not necessarily because I still have to go for a checkup like in 2 weeks to see a hematologist. It's like a blood doctor, for those of you who don't know. So we got to check up with him because I haven't gotten the complete results yet, so we don't know what's causing me to, or what caused the blood clots in the first place, or what's causing me to have these fainting episodes in the first place as well. So I'm still questionable about this whole thing. So we'll see what happens there. And that's pretty much where the story ends. Now obviously, don't worry, there'll be more videos to come, but right now I just want to take the time to sort of rest a little bit. I may start getting to work soon on upcoming videos. Depends if I have any ideas, but there's still more to come. But again, I'm here, guys. I'm all right. I'm healthy, and I'm ready to move on with life. So that's pretty much it. And if you made it to this point, thank you for listening to my story. And that's all there is to it. Thank you. And I thank everyone who supported me. Mostly my family during this hard time that I had to go through. And I wish from the bottom of my heart as well, I thank all of you as well. And I wish everyone the best, and Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. I'll see you later.